first contact surprise. The starship Horizon hung in high orbit above the shimmering blue-green world of Crystallia, its sleek hull reflecting the light of an alien sun. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the viewscreen as it displayed the swirling, crystalline structures that passed for cities on the planet below. "It's beautiful," Lieutenant Commander Jackson whispered, voicing the thoughts of the entire bridge crew. Sarah nodded, allowing herself a small smile. After years of searching, humanity had finally made first contact with an intelligent alien species. The Crystallians, as they called themselves, were as different from humans as one could imagine, silicon-based lifeforms that looked like living gemstones, communicating through light pulses and vibrations. "Status report," Sarah commanded, shaking herself out of her reverie. "All systems nominal, Captain," Ensign Rodriguez reported from her station. "The Crystallian delegation is ready to receive us in their orbital station." Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "Very well. Commander Jackson, you're with me. Let's make history." As Sarah and Jackson made their way to the shuttle bay, the captain couldn't help but feel a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The initial exchanges with the Crystallians had gone well, but there was still so much they didn't understand about each other. The shuttle ride to the Crystallian station was short but tense. As they approached, Sarah marveled at the structure. A massive, multifaceted crystal that seemed to grow out of the void of space itself. "Incredible," Jackson murmured, his scientific curiosity evident in his voice. "Their engineering capabilities are far beyond what we imagined." The shuttle docked with a soft chime, and Sarah led the way into the airlock. As the doors cycled open, they were greeted by a sight that took their breath away. 3 Crystallians stood before them, their bodies a riot of colors and facets. They were roughly humanoid in shape, but that's where the similarities ended. Their skin was a translucent, crystalline substance that seemed to shift and change with every movement. Inside their bodies, Sarah could see pulsing networks of light and energy, their version of a circulatory system, perhaps. The central Crystallian stepped forward, its body flashing in a complex pattern of lights. A moment later, their universal translator kicked in. "Greetings, humans of the Starship Horizon," the alien's melodious voice filled the chamber. "I am First Facet Zyrix. Welcome to our humble outpost." Sarah bowed slightly, remembering their briefing on Crystallian etiquette. "Thank you, First Facet Zyrix. I'm Captain Sarah Chen, and this is my science officer, Commander Jackson. We are honored to be here." As they exchanged pleasantries and began their tour of the station, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The Crystallians seemed distracted, agitated. It was hard to tell with such an alien species, but their light patterns seemed more erratic than usual. It wasn't until they reached what appeared to be a medical bay that things came to a head. One of the Crystallians, introduced as Third Facet Lumina, suddenly collapsed, its body dimming alarmingly. "Lumina!" Zyrix cried out, rushing to its fallen comrade. The first facet turned to Sarah, its lights pulsing with what she interpreted as desperation. "Captain Chen, we need your help." Sarah blinked in surprise. "Of course, but I'm not sure how we can assist. Our medical knowledge of your species is limited at best." Zyrix's body shimmered with what might have been a sigh. "We are facing a crisis, Captain. A microscopic invader has begun infecting our people. Our own medical technology is ineffective. The pathogen hides in quantum states we cannot easily access." Jackson stepped forward, his eyes wide with realization. "But our biology is completely different. We might be able to interact with this pathogen in ways you can't." Zyrix nodded, or at least made a motion Sarah interpreted as agreement. "Precisely. We have technology that can reduce organic matter to a microscopic scale. We need volunteers to enter our bodies and combat this threat directly." Sarah felt her jaw drop. "Wait, you're asking us to go inside you?" "Yes," Zyrix replied, its voice tinged with what might have been embarrassment. I understand it is an unusual request, but we have no other options. Will you help us, Captain Chen? Sarah looked at Jackson, seeing the mixture of scientific excitement and apprehension in his eyes. She thought of her crew, of the potential risks, of the monumental importance of this first contact mission. Finally, she turned back to Xerix. "We'll do it," she said firmly. "But I'll need to brief my crew and assemble a volunteer team. This won't be without risks on our end." Xerix's body glowed with gratitude. "Thank you, Captain. You may have just saved our entire species." As Sarah began organizing the mission, her mind raced with the implications. They had come seeking diplomatic relations and scientific exchange. Instead, they were about to embark on a journey into the most alien environment imaginable, the inside of a crystalline life form. "Xerix," Sarah asked as they made their way back to the horizon, "I have to know, how did you even come up with this idea? Allowing aliens to enter your body seems intimate." The crystallian's lights pulsed in what Sarah was beginning to recognize as amusement. "Captain, to us, the idea of separate, individual bodies is the strange concept. We are all connected, all part of the greater crystalline matrix. Allowing you inside is simply an extension of that connection." Sarah nodded, though she wasn't sure she fully understood. As they prepared for the microscopic mission, she couldn't help but marvel at the twists and turns of their first contact. They had expected to find differences, but this was beyond anything they had imagined. Back on the horizon, Sarah addressed her assembled crew, their faces a mixture of excitement, fear, and determination. "I won't lie to you," she said, her voice firm. "What we're about to attempt is unprecedented and dangerous. We'll be entering an environment unlike anything in human experience. But the Crystallians need our help, and this is an opportunity to learn and grow in ways we never thought possible." She looked each volunteer in the eye, seeing the same spirit that had driven humanity to the stars reflected back at her. "We came out here to explore, to discover, to push the boundaries of what's possible," Sarah continued. "Now we have the chance to do all of that and more. To save lives, to forge a connection with an alien species that goes beyond mere words or treaties." She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "So, who's ready to make history?" The resounding cheer that filled the briefing room was all the answer she needed. As the team began their final preparations, Sarah couldn't help but smile. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that human ingenuity, compassion, and sheer determination would see them through. The microscopic mission was about to begin, and with it, a journey that would redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. Journey to the center of the alien. The air in the Crystallian medical bay crackled with nervous energy as Captain Sarah Chen and her volunteer team suited up for their unprecedented mission. Their specially designed nanoscale suits gleamed under the pulsating light of the alien facility, each one a marvel of human engineering pushed to its absolute limits. "Remember, folks," Sarah addressed her team, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "We're about to boldly go where no human has gone before, inside a living, thinking, alien being. Stay frosty, stay focused, and for heaven's sake, try not to touch anything unless you absolutely have to." A ripple of nervous laughter spread through the group. Dr. Aisha Patel, the team's xenobiologist, piped up, "Captain, I've been thinking. We're essentially going to be like white blood cells inside the Crystallian body. Except we're, alien white blood cells. Talk about an autoimmune confusion." Before Sarah could respond, First Facet Xerix approached, its crystalline body shimmering with what they had learned to interpret as a mix of hope and anxiety. "Are you prepared, Captain Chen? Third Facet Luminous condition worsens by the moment." Sarah nodded, her face set with determination. "We're ready, Xerix. Walk us through the process one more time." Xerix gestured towards a large, pulsating crystal in the center of the room. "This is our quantum reduction field generator. It will shrink you and your equipment to a subatomic scale. You'll be injected into luminous circulatory system, what you might call our light stream. From there, You must navigate to the central core and neutralize the quantum pathogen. No pressure, right? Quipped Lieutenant Ravi Sharma, the team's quantum physicist, his humor barely masking his nervousness. As the team made final checks on their equipment, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of their situation. They had come seeking diplomatic relations, and now they were about to dive into the subatomic world of a silicon-based life form. It was like something out of a fever dream or a particularly imaginative sci-fi novel. Initiating quantum reduction field in 3, 2, 1. Zurich's voice resonated through the chamber. A blinding light enveloped the team, and Sarah felt a peculiar sensation, as if every atom in her body was being gently pulled apart and reassembled. When the light faded, the world around them had transformed beyond recognition. They stood on what appeared to be a vast, crystalline plain, pulsing with rivers of light that flowed in complex, fractal patterns. Above them, enormous structures loomed, their geometry defying human understanding. Sweet mother of Einstein, Ravi breathed, his eyes wide with wonder. We're actually inside a crystallian. Stay focused, people, Sarah commanded, though she too was awestruck by the alien landscape. We have a mission to complete. Dr. Patel, any ideas on how we navigate this terrain? Aisha was already scanning their surroundings with a tricorder-like device. If I'm reading this correctly, Captain, we should follow that large stream of light to our left. It seems to be flowing towards a central hub, possibly Lumina's core. As they set off, the team quickly realized that moving through a crystallian's body was nothing like they had imagined. The very ground beneath their feet seemed alive, pulsing with energy that made their nanoscale suits tingle. Captain, called out Ensign Zhang Wei, the communications specialist, I'm picking up some strange vibrations. Almost like music. Sarah listened, and indeed, there was a faint, haunting melody permeating the crystalline world around them. Could this be how crystallians communicate internally? She wondered aloud. Their pondering was cut short as the ground suddenly trembled beneath them. A massive, shimmering wall rose up, blocking their path. Some kind of internal defense mechanism, Ravi suggested, his voice tight with tension. Before they could react, tendrils of light shot out from the wall, wrapping around their suits. Sarah felt a jolt of panic as she was lifted off her feet. Don't resist, Aisha shouted. I think it's scanning us. For a moment that felt like an eternity, Sarah hung suspended in the alien light. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the wall dissolved, depositing them gently on the other side. Well, Sarah said, trying to keep her voice light, I guess we passed the immune system check. As they pressed on, the team encountered more wonders and terrors of crystalline physiology. They navigated through vast chambers where gigantic geometric structures pulsed with unknown energies. They crossed bridges of pure light spanning chasms that seemed to lead into infinity. At one point, they found themselves in a forest of crystal spires, each one vibrating at a different frequency. The combined effect created a symphony of unearthly beauty that brought tears to their eyes. It's like they're singing, Why whispered in awe. But it wasn't all wonder and beauty. They also faced dangers that tested the limits of their courage and ingenuity. Swarms of tiny, shard-like entities that Aisha theorized might be the crystalline equivalent of antibodies. Fields of fluctuating quantum energy that played havoc with their suits' systems. And always the unsettling feeling of being inside a living, thinking being of unimaginable alienness. As they neared what they believed to be Lumina's core, the signs of the quantum pathogen's effect became more pronounced. The streams of light flickered erratically, and entire sections of the crystalline landscape seemed dimmed and lifeless. We're running out of time, Sarah realized with a sinking feeling. We need to find that pathogen and neutralize it, fast. But as they rounded a corner, they came face to face with their greatest challenge yet. Before them loomed a writhing mass of darkness, its edges flickering in and out of existence. Tendrils of shadow reached out, seeming to drain the light from everything they touched. The quantum pathogen, Ravi breathed, his face pale even in the dim light. It's beautiful in a terrifying sort of way. Sarah steeled herself, pushing down the fear that threatened to overwhelm her. This was the moment they had come for, the challenge they had to overcome to save Lumina, and possibly the entire Crystallian species. "All right, team," she said, her voice ringing with determination. "We've come too far to back down now. Let's show this quantum bug what happens when it messes with friends of humanity." As they prepared to confront the pathogen, Sarah couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. They had traveled across the stars, shrunk to subatomic size, and ventured into an alien body. Now, they stood on the precipice of a battle that would determine the fate of an entire species. Whatever happened next, Sarah knew one thing for certain. This was a story that would be told and retold for generations to come. The day humanity proved that its courage, compassion, and ingenuity knew no bounds, not even the barriers between species. With a deep breath, Sarah gave the order to advance. The battle for Lumina's life and the future of human-crystallian relations was about to begin. Mind meld mayhem. As Captain Sarah Chen and her team approached the writhing mass of quantum darkness, the very fabric of reality seemed to warp around them. The crystalline world pulsed with erratic energy, each flicker a silent scream from Lumina's failing body. "All right, team, this is it," Sarah's voice crackled through their comms. "Dr. Petal, what are we dealing with here?" Aisha's fingers danced across her sensors, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's like nothing I've ever seen, Captain. The pathogen exists in a state of quantum superposition. It's simultaneously here and elsewhere." Ravi chimed in, his voice tight with excitement and fear. "That's why the Crystallians couldn't fight it. Their biology is too orderly, too defined. But us? We're walking quantum anomalies to them. We might just have a chance." Sarah nodded, her mind racing. "Okay, so how do we fight something that's not quite here?" Before anyone could answer, a tendril of darkness lashed out, passing through their suits as if they weren't there. Sarah gasped as an alien coldness seeped into her very atoms. "Captain," Wei shouted, reaching for her. "I'm okay," Sarah managed, though her voice shook. "But our suits aren't going to protect us from this thing. New plan, we go in bare." "Bare?" Aisha's eyes widened. "Captain, the risks are less than the risk of failing," Sarah cut her off. "We need direct contact, it's the only way." With trembling hands, they unsealed their helmets. The alien atmosphere rushed in, tasting of ozone and starlight. For a terrifying moment, Sarah thought they'd made a fatal mistake. Then, something extraordinary happened. The world around them exploded into clarity. What had been muffled and distant through their suits now sang with vibrant life. They could feel the pulse of Lumina's body, the complex rhythms of alien biology thrumming through their very beings. "Oh my God," Ravi whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. We're interfacing directly with Crystallian cellular structures." But with this new awareness came an onslaught of alien thoughts and sensations. Sarah staggered, her mind reeling as Lumina's memories and experiences crashed over her like a tidal wave. "Focus," she shouted, as much to herself as to her team. "Don't lose yourselves." They pushed forward, each step a battle against a surging alien consciousness threatening to overwhelm them. The quantum pathogen loomed before them, a cancer in Lumina's crystalline matrix. As they neared the heart of the infection, Sarah felt a presence brush against her mind. Alien, yet somehow familiar. "Lumina," she thought, and received a pulse of affirmation in return. Suddenly, Sarah understood. "It's not just a pathogen," she gasped aloud. "It's alive, sentient, and it's scared." The realization hit the team like a thunderbolt. They weren't facing a mindless disease, but a lost and frightened entity, lashing out in confusion and fear. "We need to communicate with it," Aisha said, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. But how? Wei asked. Our translators are useless at this scale. Sarah closed her eyes, reaching out with her mind. She felt her teammates do the same, their consciousnesses merging with hers, with Lumina's, and finally, tentatively, with the quantum entity itself. What followed was beyond description, a symphony of thought and emotion, a dance of quantum possibilities. They showed the entity the beauty of the crystalline world, the wonder of human exploration, the vast tapestry of life across the cosmos. In return, they glimpsed the entity's own strange existence, born in the spaces between realities, drawn to the complex quantum structures of crystalline biology. Its attempt to communicate had been misinterpreted as an attack, leading to fear and conflict on both sides. We've all made mistakes, Sarah thought, her mental voice resonating across the quantum link, but we can move forward together. Will you join us? For a moment that stretched into eternity, the fate of two species hung in the balance. Then, with a surge of joy that sent ripples through the fabric of space-time, the entity agreed. The transformation was breathtaking. The darkness that had threatened Lumina's life now flowed through their crystalline body like liquid starlight. The team watched in awe as the entity integrated itself into crystalline biology, repairing damage and enhancing systems with its quantum nature. As the danger passed and the alien mindscape began to fade, Sarah felt a profound sense of gratitude and wonder from Lumina. The crystalline had been changed by this experience, glimpsing the universe through human eyes. With a jolt, Sarah and her team found themselves back in the medical bay, returned to their normal size. Lumina stood before them, their crystalline body shimmering with newfound vitality. Captain Chen, Lumina's voice resonated with harmonics that hadn't been there before. You and your team have not only saved my life, but opened up new realms of possibility for our entire species. We are forever in your debt. Sarah smiled, still reeling from the mind-bending experience. It was our honor, Lumina. I think we've all been changed by this encounter. As the humans and crystallians began to excitedly discuss the implications of what had occurred, Sarah took a moment to reflect. They had come seeking first contact and found so much more. A new form of life, a deeper understanding of the quantum nature of reality, and a bond between species that transcended physical form. Whatever challenges lay ahead in this new era of interstellar relations, Sarah knew that humanity was ready to face them with open minds and courageous hearts. The universe, it seemed, was stranger and more wonderful than they had ever imagined. And this was just the beginning. Quantum diplomacy. The days following the miraculous healing of Third Facet Lumina were a whirlwind of activity aboard both the Starship Horizon and the Crystalline Orbital Station. Captain Sarah Chen found herself at the center of a diplomatic and scientific storm that threatened to reshape the very foundations of interstellar relations. Captain's log, stardate 23745. Sarah spoke into her recorder, her voice tinged with a mixture of excitement and exhaustion. It's been 3 days since our microscopic mission inside the crystalline known as Lumina. The repercussions of our encounter with the quantum entity are, well, to put it mildly, they're off the charts. She paused, gathering her thoughts. The crystallians have undergone a transformation that defies our current understanding of biology and physics. The integration of the quantum entity has given them abilities that border on the miraculous. They can manipulate matter at a subatomic level, communicate instantaneously across vast distances, and even perceive multiple realities simultaneously. Sarah shook her head in wonder. But with great power comes great responsibility and great fear from those who don't understand. The Federation is in an uproar. Some see this as the dawn of a new age of exploration and discovery. Others fear we've unleashed something we can't control. Her log was interrupted by a chime from her comm panel. Captain, Lieutenant Commander Jackson's voice came through. The crystalline delegates are ready for the conference. And you might want to prepare yourself. They've brought some unexpected guests. Sarah's eyebrows shot up. Unexpected how, Commander? You'll see, Jackson replied, a note of awe in his voice. Just keep an open mind, Captain. Moments later, Sarah strode into the Horizon's conference room, her dress uniform crisp and her game face on. What she saw stopped her in her tracks. The Crystallians were there, their bodies shimmering with newfound energy. But they weren't alone. Hovering beside them were beings of pure light, their forms shifting and changing like living constellations. Captain Chen, Zurich's voice chimed, resonating with new harmonics. Allow me to introduce our friends. They are, well, I suppose you might call them our cousins from another reality. Sarah blinked, her mind reeling. Your cousins? One of the light beings floated forward, its voice echoing in Sarah's mind rather than her ears. Greetings, Captain. We are what you might call trans-dimensional entities. Your actions in healing Lumina and integrating the quantum being have opened a bridge between our realities. Sarah took a deep breath, centering herself. This was first contact all over again, but on a scale she could barely comprehend. Welcome, she said, proud of how steady her voice sounded. I'm afraid we're in uncharted territory here. Perhaps we could start with an exchange of information. What followed was the most extraordinary conference of Sarah's career. The Crystallians, with their newfound quantum awareness, served as translators and mediators between the humans and the trans-dimensional beings. They learned of realities layered upon realities, of civilizations that existed in the spaces between atoms, of forms of communication that made faster-than-light technology look primitive by comparison. This is incredible, Dr. Potel breathed, her eyes shining with scientific wonder. The implications for physics, for medicine, for everything. But as the conference progressed, it became clear that not everyone shared her enthusiasm. Admiral Zaya's holographic form appeared, his face stern. Captain Chen, he said, his voice tight, I've just been briefed on the situation. The Federation Council is concerned. These beings, these new abilities the Crystallians have developed, they represent a potential threat to the balance of power in the galaxy. Sarah felt a flare of frustration. With all due respect, Admiral, this is the greatest opportunity for advancement we've ever encountered. Yes, it's shocking. Yes, it's beyond our current understanding. But isn't that why we're out here? The trans-dimensional being that had first greeted her pulsed with what Sarah interpreted as approval. Your captain speaks wisely, it communicated. We do not seek to disrupt your societies or impose our will. We seek exchange, understanding, growth. Xerix chimed in, their crystalline form resonating with conviction. We Crystallians have been transformed, yes, but our core values remain. We wish to use our new abilities to help, to explore, to bridge the gaps between all forms of life. Admiral Zhao's frown deepened. And if we asked you to restrict these abilities, to keep this discovery under wraps until we can fully understand and control it? A tense silence fell over the room. Sarah held her breath, acutely aware that the next few moments could determine the course of galactic history. It was Lumina who broke the silence, their voice soft but firm. Admiral, with respect, you speak of control, but some things cannot, should not, be controlled. What has happened here is not a weapon to be contained or a resource to be hoarded. It is an evolution, an awakening. The trans-dimensional being pulsed in agreement. All life, in all realities, is connected. Your species, humans and Crystallians alike, stand at a threshold. Will you step forward into a larger universe or retreat into fear and isolation? Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding but her resolve firm. Admiral, members of the Federation Council, I urge you to embrace this opportunity. Yes, it's frightening. Yes, it will change everything. But change is what we're out here for. We can't claim to seek out new life and new civilizations, then balk when we find something truly new. She gestured to the assembled beings, human, Crystallian, and trans-dimensional. Look at what we've accomplished already. We've healed a deadly pathogen, forged connections across realities, expanded our understanding of the universe in ways we never thought possible. And we've done it together, through cooperation and open-mindedness. Admiral Zayo's hologram flickered, his expression unreadable. "You're asking for a lot of trust, Captain." "I'm asking for hope, sir," Sarah replied. "Hope and the courage to take a leap into the unknown. Isn't that what Starfleet is all about?" For a long moment, the Admiral was silent. Then slowly he nodded. "Very well, Captain. I'll take your recommendation to the Council. But be aware, the eyes of the entire Federation will be on this cultural exchange. Don't make me regret this decision." As the hologram faded, Sarah let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. She turned to face the assembled beings, a smile breaking across her face. "Well," she said, "it looks like we have a lot of work ahead of us. A whole new frontier of diplomacy, science, and exploration. Who's ready to make history?" The conference room erupted in a chorus of agreement, chimes from the Crystallians, pulses of light from the transdimensional beings, and excited chatter from her human crew. As Sarah looked around at this impossible gathering, she felt a swell of pride and wonder. This was why she had joined Starfleet. This was the dream of every explorer since humans first looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. They stood on the brink of a new age, one that promised to redefine the very concepts of life, intelligence, and reality itself. And humanity, thanks to their openness and courage, would be at the forefront of this cosmic revolution. The journey ahead would be challenging, filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagination. But as Sarah met the eyes, and other sensory organs, of her newfound allies, she knew that together, they were ready to face whatever the universe, or multiverse, had in store. The adventure, it seemed, was just beginning. Cosmic convergence. The starship Horizon streaked through the cosmos, its warp trail a brilliant azure against the velvet black of space. But inside the ship, an even more extraordinary journey was taking place. Captain Sarah Chen sat cross-legged in the center of the holodeck, surrounded by a dazzling array of light and crystalline structures. To her left hovered Xerix, the Crystallian diplomat, their form shimmering with quantum energy. To her right, a being of pure light pulsed gently, the transdimensional entity they had come to call Lux. "Focus, Sarah." Lux's thoughts resonated in her mind. "Feel the threads of reality around you. See how they weave together, forming the tapestry of existence." Sarah closed her eyes, reaching out with senses she was only beginning to understand. Slowly, like a stereogram coming into focus, she began to perceive the quantum fabric of the universe. It was beautiful beyond words, a cosmic symphony of probability and potential. I think I see it," she breathed, her voice filled with wonder. "It's like sheet music for reality itself." Xerix chimed encouragingly. "Excellent progress, Captain. Now try to pluck one of those threads, gently." Sarah concentrated, imagining her consciousness reaching out to touch one of the shimmering strands of possibility. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like a crystal bell, the thread resonated. Sarah gasped as a cascade of images flooded her mind, glimpses of alternate realities, paths not taken, futures yet to be. "Remarkable," Lux pulsed. "You humans have an innate talent for this. Your imaginations, your ability to conceptualize the impossible, it makes you uniquely suited to quantum manipulation." As the training session ended and the holodeck shimmered back to its neutral state, Sarah stood on shaky legs. These lessons in what they had come to call quantum harmonics were exhilarating but exhausting. "You're making excellent progress," Captain Xerix said, their crystalline form glittering with approval. "Soon, you'll be ready to attempt a quantum leap." Sarah's eyes widened. "You mean actually traveling to another reality?" Lux pulsed affirmatively. "It is the next step in your evolution as a species. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. The multiverse is vast and full of wonders and dangers." As they made their way to the bridge, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at how much had changed in the months since their fateful encounter inside Lumina. The horizon had been transformed into a hub of interspecies and interdimensional cooperation. Crystalline structures merged seamlessly with Federation technology, while areas of the ship shimmered with the ethereal presence of transdimensional beings. But not everyone was thrilled with these developments. As they entered the bridge, Lieutenant Commander Jackson approached, his face tight with concern. "Captain, we've received a priority transmission from Starfleet Command. It's not good news." Sarah's heart sank as she read the message. A faction within the Federation, fearful of the rapid changes and the influence of the Crystallians and transdimensional beings, was calling for an immediate cessation of the quantum harmonics program. They wanted the horizon recalled, the Crystallians quarantined, and all research into interdimensional travel halted. "They're afraid," Zyrix chimed softly, reading the shift in Sarah's emotional state. "Fear of the unknown is a powerful force." "But they don't understand," Sarah protested. "What we're discovering here could revolutionize everything: medicine, energy production, space travel. We're on the brink of solving problems that have plagued our civilization for centuries." Lux pulsed thoughtfully. "Perhaps what is needed is not more arguments, but a demonstration. Actions, as you humans say, speak louder than words." A plan began to form in Sarah's mind. It was risky, possibly career-ending if it went wrong. But if it succeeded— "Zyrix, Lux," she said, her voice filled with determination. "I think it's time we invited some guests for a very special tour. Jackson, send a message to Starfleet Command. Tell them we're hosting a summit on quantum harmonics, and we want representatives from every major Federation world to attend." As the crew scrambled to prepare for the unprecedented summit, Sarah retreated to her ready room. She stood at the window, gazing out at the stars, feeling the weight of the moment. "Computer," she said softly, "begin Captain's log. Stardate 23753. We stand at a crossroads not just for humanity, but for all known life in the universe. The choice before us is simple, yet monumental. Do we embrace a future of infinite possibilities, or do we retreat into the comfortable limitations of our past?" She paused, gathering her thoughts. "In the coming days, we will attempt to bridge not just the gap between species or dimensions, but between fear and understanding. The risks are great, but the potential rewards are greater still. Whatever happens, let the record show that we face the unknown not with trepidation, but with hope and courage." As she ended the log, Sarah's comm panel chimed. "Captain," Ensign Zhang's excited voice came through, "the first delegates are arriving, and you're going to want to see this." Sarah hurried to the shuttle bay, her heart pounding with anticipation. As the airlock cycled open, she found herself face to face with a delegation unlike any in Federation history. Vulcans stood shoulder to shoulder with Klingons, their usual stoicism replaced by wide-eyed wonder. Andorian antennae quivered with excitement next to the undulating tentacles of betazoid empaths. And at the center of it all, to Sarah's shock and delight, stood Admiral Zeo himself. "Captain Chen," the Admiral said, his usual gruff demeanor softened by a hint of awe, "I believe you promised us a glimpse of the future. We're here to see it." Sarah straightened, feeling the weight of the moment. "Welcome aboard the Horizon, distinguished delegates. If you'll follow me, we're about to embark on a journey beyond anything you've experienced before, a journey to the heart of reality itself." As she led the diverse group towards the specially prepared quantum harmonics chamber, Sarah caught snippets of excited conversation. "Is it true they can manipulate matter at a subatomic level? I heard they've developed instantaneous communication across light years. Someone said they've made contact with beings from another dimension. Surely that's an exaggeration." Sarah smiled to herself. They had no idea what they were in for. The doors to the quantum harmonics chamber hissed open, revealing a space that defied conventional physics. Crystalline structures pulsed with otherworldly light, while areas of the room seemed to fade in and out of existence. Xerix and Lux waited in the center, their forms a study in contrasts, one solid yet ethereal, the other pure energy given shape. "Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all designations," Sarah announced, her voice ringing with pride and excitement, "welcome to the frontier of quantum harmonics. What you're about to experience will challenge everything you thought you knew about reality, about the limits of possibility, and about our place in the cosmos." She nodded to Xerix and Lux. "Shall we begin?" As the demonstration unfolded, the chamber filled with gasps of astonishment and cries of disbelief. The delegates watched in awe as matter was reshaped at will, as communication flowed instantaneously across vast distances, as glimpses of other realities flickered into view. But the true climax came when Sarah herself, guided by Xerix and Lux, performed her first quantum leap. In a flash of indescribable light, she'd vanished from the chamber, only to reappear moments later, holding a flower of impossible beauty, its petals shimmering with colors beyond the visible spectrum. "This," she said, her voice trembling with emotion, "is from a reality where our definitions of life, of consciousness, are merely the beginning. A reality we can now explore, learn from, and grow with." As the implications sank in, the chamber erupted in a cacophony of excitement. Even the stoic Vulcans were visibly moved, their logical minds racing to process the infinite possibilities. Admiral Zao approached Sarah, his face a mixture of emotions. "Captain Chen," he said softly, "I owe you an apology. We were short-sighted, afraid. But this changes everything." Sarah smiled, feeling a wave of relief and triumph. "No apologies needed, Admiral. We're all explorers here. We just needed to remember why we took to the stars in the first place." As the delegates began to mingle with the crystallians and transdimensional beings, eager to learn and understand, Sarah felt a profound sense of hope. They had taken the first step into a larger universe, one filled with wonders beyond imagination. The journey ahead would be challenging, filled with new discoveries, new dangers, and new ethical dilemmas. But as she looked around at the diverse beings gathered in the chamber, human, alien, and beyond, Sarah knew that together, they were ready to face whatever the multiverse had in store. The age of quantum harmonics had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the history of all sentient life. The boundaries between species, between dimensions, between what was possible and impossible were dissolving. And at the heart of it all stood humanity, not conquerors, not bystanders, but bridges. Bridges between worlds, between realities, between the known and the unimaginable. As the Horizon prepared to embark on its next mission, the first official voyage into interdimensional space, Sarah couldn't help but smile. The universe, it seemed, was bigger, stranger, and more wonderful than they had ever dreamed. And they were just getting started.